Are you ready to run your short-term rental business like a superhost? If so, look no further than Guesty for Hosts. Guesty for Hosts offers listing management for all three major OTAs, Airbnb, Booking.com, and Vrbo. With Guesty for Hosts, you can create a branded direct booking website in minutes. I've been able to hit 61% direct bookings in my business and automate daily tasks such as communication with cleaners and communication with guests. Click the link in the show notes to get an additional $20 off your first month.
Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
of Live,
Let, Thrive.
What is up, Micah, man?
I'm chilling, Stevie Stacks. How you doing?
Oh, good, man. Recovering from the COVID. I remember last week we joked around I might have it, and I actually had it. So the first podcast, last week's podcast we did, I was just like, man, I told you I was feeling sick. And so I got tested and I had the COVID. And so I'm getting over it. Today I just went this morning and got tested and negative. So it's gone. Still a little fatigued and stuff like that, but I'm getting back to the grind. And enough about me. How you been, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Just dealing with insurance crap. And actually, our current guest might actually be able to help me with it and actually gave me some good advice before the show. So
cool.
That's about it.
We got a great guest on this episode 211 of your favorite Airbnb, Vrbo, home away, Uber, Lyft, all that share economy, fun stuff in the world, coming at you from Fort Worth and Arlington, Texas. And our guest, as you alluded to, is Mr. Doug McCarty. How you doing, Doug?
Good, boys. What's going on? Nice to be on here.
Thank you. Thanks for hopping on, man. You're a Clubhouse legend. Yeah, we know you from Clubhouse, man. Tell us a little about, tell our fans a little bit about yourself.
My name's Doug McCarty. I've been in the real estate game for 32 years now. Basically started out in short-term rental business before it was even a thing, apparently. Started getting into the campus housing, kind of what got me into the short-term side of it, mid-term side of it. Bought a few properties here and there on golf courses, and basically had a bunch of guys that like to stay in my units on the golf courses, which were weekend stays and that kind of stuff. And that's where I kind of learned the short-term side of it and figured out that, 4 weekends I could make more than a monthly rent. And we just started enhancing it from there and building the portfolio and going towards campus housing, going towards commercial. My mentor got me into commercial and built a little bit on that side of it. And then, in the last probably 14 years, we've really honed our craft in the short-term rental industry and built ourselves into the experienced concierge service, which is that's the money side of it, because we all know that short-term rentals bring in a good chunk of change, but that's barely even half of what we bring in on the experience side. So that's kind of who I am.
32 years, man. It's a long time.
Yeah, so, old fart.
So before we dive into the short-term rental side of it, how it applies to our show. So people are right now, I mean, you've been through a few cycles, right? You've been through a few real estate cycles.
Yeah.
What are you seeing right now that can compare to the stuff that you've gone through earlier in other cycles?
Right now, so up until about 30 days ago, everything was selling within 1 to 4 days. And as of yesterday, when I was on MLS, 3 different regions I always check, they're up to 28 days right now on average on market. So once we hit that 30-day mark, it's going to turn the other direction. It's going to become a buyer's market again. Because once people get to 30 days, they start to worry, they start to fret, and if their house is on the market for that long, they're going to go, okay, we need to lower the price because I need to get rid of this now for the best amount of money I can get rid of it for. And how do they do that? They got to lower the price.
Right.
So that's where the cycle is going to start to go. I don't know how big the turn back is going to be on this one. I'm guessing anywhere between 18 and 30%. But I think that's just going to get it back to origination from 2018. and then things will normal out, I think. But other than that, it's just all speculation. We'll see where it goes and see how it ends up, and hopefully the foreclosure market will kick in again, and we can have some fun.
Right. One thing I just want to point out, because I always see a lot of people online that are like, hey, don't worry, rates in the 80s were 8%, rates in the 90s were 6-7%, rate whatever. I was like, yeah, but those houses were like 30,000 and 50,000 back then. Now they're like the same houses, like 300,000 plus.
Correct. Yeah.
You're putting those same rates or close to those same rates. So that's a big difference.
So 1 year ago today, so if you take a house that was $150,000 1 year ago today, was $1,398 on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Today, that same mortgage is $1,865.
Right.
Just at a 2% increase.
Right.
So if we hit that 6 and 7% mark, yeah, it's going to go up a little bit. But again, that's a healthy number.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, now this leads me to the question, because you've been in the game 32 years, right? And when you start to see these market cycles, what advice would you give to someone going into the short-term rental space looking to buy right now and get the biggest return on their investment? Is it a good time to buy, or what will be your suggestion to them?
My suggestion to anybody wanting to get into the short-term rental game is know the game.
Mm-hmm.
The property is the last thing you need to worry about. It's you being the best host that you could be and putting the people in the beds that's making you money. So if you don't know the short-term rental game, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, because with everything that's going on with Airbnb and VRBO and travel starting to slow, you're only going to get 50%, 45%, 40% bookings. And that's barely going to break you even. So that's the key to it. So somebody that's just coming in doesn't have the 12,000 names that I have, that I can continue to put my people into missing areas. Like if you started today and a month later you said, okay, I'm only 30% full, I need to figure out how to fill this. Well, you got to go to social media, you got to go to friends, you got to do whatever it is you got to do to put people in those rooms. Well, I have those people already entrusting in me, know my units, already have that stable relationship with them. I can call them and say, you know what, I need people to fill these 3 units. I'm just going to give you 50% off, and I'm going to fill them as long as you stay for a week. And I can fill my units. Those other people, the new people coming in, cannot, because they're just playing the STR game. In other words, they're going Airbnb, VRBO, and whatever booking, and hopefully or something, and praying that somebody stays in the unit.
Oh, I like that, praying someone stays in the unit.
The praying method, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all they got. Because like I said, my biggest preach in any of this, the STR is not the game. The area is the game. Sell the area. That will bring the people to your SCR. Once they find out how great of a host that you are and what you offer to them and marketing your area, that's going to change the game.
So how does one successfully market their area?
So right now, if you asked me that question 15 years ago, I said I have to work my ass off to get all the information that I have now. Today, we can go in, I send a crew of 6 in to set up a unit. So one guy does all the furniture, one guy does all the logistics, and then I have a team of 3 or 4 that go out 25-mile radius of my unit, and they find everything there is to do in that city. And then we start partnering with those people. So we say, okay, we own an STR here. We show them numbers from other cities. So that's the other advantage I have, because I already have a proven concept. And I just let them know, hey, look, we want to send people to you. We want to hire you on occasion to come cook for our guests. If you've got a bike rental place, we want to rent your bikes. We want your bikes to be supplied to our units at any given time. If you've got a boat rental service, we want to buy the tickets for them, upcharge our service for that, just get them to the boat, and then we'll pay the boat people. We never want the money to go from the people's hands to the service's hands. We want the money to go to our hands that we pay the service. So that way we can take our cut early.
I like that, man.
And if you don't get your money first, you will probably not get as much as you wanted.
That's cool. That's a man. You're full of dropping gems right now. Uh, so what? So you said that the area. So okay, you send out your people to scout out 25-mile radius. You know, that's about as far as someone will go on vacation, right? They won't go farther than that little bubble, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what kind of areas do you look for that'll make good short-term rentals in general?
Right now, I mean, so the 32 units that we own, and then we manage another 88. So right now we are in all 50 states and we are in 4 countries. So we're in the proud areas. And then now we're just kind of searching out other areas that our guests are asking for. So if we're not in an area that a guest would like to stay, like our Kansas City, we just bought one in Kansas City and we're working on that one. And the reason why I did that in Kansas City is because I want to know, we're not on the big platforms, so we do everything internally. We're 100% direct book. So I want to learn how Airbnb and VRBO function in true life. So I hired my team. Basically, I said, here's the deal. My company is owned by me, and 25% of it is owned by my team. So my team, I says, here's a VRBO and an Airbnb for you guys. You guys are going to run this, own it, everything. But we need to set it up on Airbnb. So that way we can understand the platform, so I know what I'm talking about. Because I really don't. I mean, when it comes to Airbnb and VRBO, I really don't know exactly everything that's going on with that system. I just hear all the complaints on Facebook, bitching area and all those Facebook groups. And I try to answer questions, but some of my questions I'm answering are incorrect because I'm 100% direct book and they're relying on a platform. So that's the second reason why I started the platform that I started.
You said something earlier, because man, this is fascinating. You have 30, you own 32, manage 88, and you're not on the OTAs. Bravo, because I know you've been doing it for 32 years. So you said you have a list of 13,000 clients. So how did you collect that list, and then how do you market to that list?
So in the beginning, anybody that stayed with us, so I just built it, footstep by footstep. Friends would ask me to stay at these units, and then I'd tell my friends, hey, look, tell your friends about our unit. So that way I can get more names. And then everybody that stayed with us, we would meet them at the door. Somebody would meet them at the door, walk them through the property, show them everything that went on, which we still do today. Every person that stays in our properties gets introduced to the property by somebody. Whether they've been there 6, 7 times, it don't matter. There may be something that has changed. We still walk them through the process. But at the end of that walkthrough, we just tell them, hey, for insurance purposes, I need your first and last name, I need your email address, and I need your phone number. And that's how I started gathering the information in the beginning. Then I figured out that these people wanted to do a lot of things around the areas, and that's how I started enhancing our system. So I hired basically a concierge service person that ran these people. So like if you go to Vegas and you go to the Caesar's Palace and you're one of the upper echelon people, you don't check into the front door, you check into the side door. They say, hey, Mr. McCarty, how you doing? Let us grab your bags for you. They'll be up in the room when you want. What did you want to do today? You need tickets for the games. You need tickets for the shows. You need a reservation anywhere. You're getting a massage. We know your wife loves massages and jewelry. Does she need to go shopping? This is the exact system I built. I know every piece of information that these people like to do now. So I've got files on guys that have been staying with me for 25 years that are basically the white pages of New York.
Wow. That's
Wow.
awesome. So they show up and so-and-so, Mr. Smith likes to go fishing. So you got it all set up for him.
Yeah, I know what fishing lures he likes. I know what fishing rods he likes. I know what fishing poles he likes. I know what boat he has at home, so that maybe I can get a like and similar kind so he has no issues running it. I know, if he's a golfer, I know what golf clubs he hits. I know what shoes he wears. I know what golf balls he hits. I know what courses he does like. I know what his handicap is. So I don't put him on a hard course. I put him on an easy course. So he has a great and fantastic day. So he remembers my system.
It's so cool, man. It's like, okay, as I don't know what we are, millennials or whatever the hell. We weren't brought up learning these kind of things, learning about the Four Seasons, I don't know, whatever you call it, the high-end hotels that would have concierges to learn, to have help with guest experience and relation. We're not used to that. We grew up with the, just regular staying at whatever Holiday Inn, Motel 6. And so when we're coming of age, starting our Airbnbs and stuff like that, we're just like, okay, we're giving people a place to stay, and we're not really diving in like you do. And that's so cool. And we do need to learn that, man. That would separate us from the pack big time.
You would be surprised at the amount of business that you will get for return business will outweigh the new business, because you'll get a guest that stays with you 5 times in a year at 5 different locations. When you're off of Airbnb, you're getting one person staying with one of your units and maybe never even knowing that you have 4 other units.
I'm happy you brought that up, because I think that's what the OTA strip from you is. You're just a number. So now, hey, you got this unit. Now they have split stays where now you can stay at this place for 3 days and the rest of the 4 days go stay somewhere else, which Airbnb seems to be basically stripping your brand from your home. And I think you've done a great job of branding your home. Now, with you doing this, what kind of units do you provide? Do you do houses, apartments? What do you use?
We own all of our houses. So we do houses and cabins.
Okay.
That's our main forte. So when we sold off the other 32 units that we had, they were all houses, and probably 8 of them were condos. So I got out of the HOA area because I kind of saw where it was going, because all the HOAs are getting so up in an uproar with all this stuff. So I just sold them all off. But the housing part, the cabin part, some of my best units are the basically you call them 3 season, because they don't have heat and they don't have, they've got a wood burning stove, they don't have an air conditioner, and they've got a composting toilet. So those are some of my best units. They're not luxury, but the amount of service that we provide for them, so that they stay at this cabin, like my units in Upper Michigan. So those units there are, we have a snowmobile garage where we got 6 snowmobiles that these people can go up there and go snowmobiling anytime they want. We've got a neighbor about a mile and a half away that has about 13 horses, so people can go horseback riding that we rent out to them. Then we've got the lake, which is 4-minute walk from the front door. They can go fishing all summer. And then we've got John boats that they can rent and go out on the lake with. And this is these cabins are full all year round, except for maybe 2 months. And we get $99 a head on those, not a bed, a head per night.
Wow.
So you don't use Airbnb or VRBO at all, and you're 100% direct book. Now, why don't you just sprinkle in a little bit Airbnb, VRBO? I know a lot of hosts that do mostly, even up to 80-90% direct booking. They'll be talking about it online, but they still utilize for the exposure that Airbnb gives them.
Because when you get to the point where I've got 10,000, 11,000 names, my referral rate right now is probably 100 to 200 names a year. And that's what we're getting out of it. So now we vet our clients before we even let them in. And we want to know who they are, what they are, and what the process are, what they're thinking. So we're going after the 5 to 12 percenters. So in other words, those people are making $250 to $1 million a year. That's my perfect clientele, because the $250,000 people are these 25, 27, 28 years old that don't know what service is, but they've got money to burn. And the people that are making that $1 million a year are the people that are established and know what they want, and they appreciate the service that we give. So we're getting the best of both worlds, because we're teaching the new guy what service really is, and we're giving the old guy exactly what he already wants.
Wow. You know your target avatar down to the T.
Yeah. I know the expenses, and that's what the key to all this is data. I'm kind of a data freak. I like to know exactly what these people want. I've got probably 10 clients. I know exactly where their plane is at all times.
Wow. Now you said you have units in Upper Michigan. Are there any other places that you operate in?
We're in, like I said, we're in all 50 states with, you got to remember, we manage another 85 units. So these are clients that have stayed with us and says, hey, we love what you're doing with your units. Can we put our house in your system? And that's what we've taken on. So we've taken on areas that we needed properties in that people like to travel to. So basically we've basically said yes, and we've turned down probably 1,000 units. And we only take on what we want, not what we need.
So, and that's a good question. See, now you said you turned down units. What's the reason you would turn down a unit?
Number one, the client. Number two, the unit isn't in an area that we need. Because we are 100% management. That means you don't get a say. You don't get a say in anything that we do. Period. You just get to collect your check and be happy. If you need to take it out of service and go stay at it, that's fine. That's the only time you get to call us and give us advice. Other than that, it's all on us. You either get your check or you get a bill. If we had to do some remodeling or fix it up or whatever it is to do, we're a complete management company.
How much do you charge for someone to list with you?
40% of gross.
Wow.
And like, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, well, how much money can you tell that you how much percentage profit do you usually?
I make more on our the amount that we pay people on the 60%. We make more than most management companies even think of bringing in on 15% management fees. Because again, our services bring in 53% of our money.
Wow.
So other management companies aren't doing the services.
No,
they're only doing the management.
Yeah.
So in other words, they're doing their expenses. They're managing the place. They're billing for the handyman to go out there, adding 15% on top of that. They're billing for anything else that goes on. And by the time it's all said and done, that $4,000 they're collecting for rent is now $2,200. So there's not a lot left to go around. But me, that $2,200, and then you add another $2,800 on top of that for our experiences, we're giving that to them. So we're making more money than everybody else is. It's just that we're doing it in a different way. My logistics is a crazy nightmare, and we spend more on logistics than most 10-unit owners do in an entire year on everything.
So now I'm going to go to your experiences. So let's say they want to go horseback riding at the place down the street. How do you get paid off that service?
So basically, I would call Double X Ranch and just say, hey, look, I've got a client that has him, his wife, and 3 kids. We need 5 horses, and they will take them out on the trails. Basically, they just say, okay, Mr. McCarty, it's they want a 2-hour, 4-hour, or 6-hour tour. It's this much. I go, okay, great. I call the client, tell them how much it is. I add my 20% on top of it, and then there it is. And then basically you got to remember, all my guests, I have their credit cards, I have their checking accounts on file. I can ACH people, I can charge a credit card, whichever way they want to pay, I can charge them.
You're just like the hotel room. You can pick up the glass. You're just going to get charged for it. The wine bottle, you're just going to get charged for it on the way out.
Correct.
I love that, man.
If you want it, you can get it from us, as long as it's legal.
See, I was waiting for that. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, if you got places in Nevada, there's things that are legal over there too.
Yeah. Outside of Nevada.
There you go. The city proper. So how many names you said you had a list of?
So right now we're sitting on, we just broke 12,000. So we're a little over 12,000.
12,000 names. All right. And if you can't house them, you find a nice place for them and you get a kickback from that too? Correct.
If we do a referral, we get 25% of the referral.
Wow. That's beautiful, man.
Wow.
And what systems are you using to collect all this data and keep it? Are you using like MailChimps to email them or anything like that? Or how are you doing?
Again, we're really old school. So we came up with the notion of Excel. And then when OneNote came along, that kind of saved our life. And then when OneNote came into effect with their automation system, so in other words, OneNote, so all your telemarketers work off of OneNote. So they can click on the OneNote category and it'll show the person's number and it'll work with their phone system to call them. Same thing with us. So when that person calls in, it gets routed. We know who's calling in. We'll route it to the concierge, and the concierge will see the phone number. He'll type in the phone number, and it'll bring up all his information in front of him. And he'll say, "Okay, Mr. Smith, how are you today?" Even before, there's a conversation. We already know who's on the other end of the line. No matter what, we've got every phone number that he has tied to Mr. Smith, whether it's kids' phone numbers, his wife's phone number, his office phone numbers, his secretary's phone number, everything.
Okay, I guess here's the thing. So, okay, we're just, like I said, we're youngsters in this game anyways. And we're learning how to collect the data part. Okay, we got that down. We're getting to collecting the data, and then we're learning, okay, there's an app called MailChimp that'll send people emails. Hey, come stay with us for Easter, for Christmas, Yeah. So no, we got those two things kind of down. I'm assuming that's not how you do it. And what could you teach like our generation how to reach out to people or not reach out to people, or what should we do?
The biggest thing is don't overcrowd a person. Nobody likes to be crowded by a salesperson. So if you're going to call them and offer them something, it needs to work for them, not for you. So in other words, in the beginning, when I really needed to get people in our system, I offered, look, if you tell 3 friends that stay with me for 3 days, I will give you a 1-day free stay. And if they did that 9 times, that gave me basically, so each person, that's 3, 3, and 3. That's 9 days. They got 1 day. So I got 10 days filled. So they just keep repeating that to build themselves up to a 3-day stay. The free stay is good anytime I'm not booked in any location.
Nice. Now, could they use that 1 day for New Year's Eve or something like that far
out? As
long
long as it's not booked.
Really?
I don't care if it's not booked. If they want to book it 3 years in advance and it's not booked, yes.
Wow, that is cool.
It doesn't matter. It has to work for them, not for you. You have to remember, you can't black out dates. All you're trying to do is fill your empty dates now.
So I assume I know the answer to this question before I even ask, but do you don't have automated emails going out to these people?
Absolutely not. We never send out automated emails. Every email they get is in the beginning, 2 days prior to their show. Then they get an email 2 days after, respecting them for their show. And then there's always a letter on the table, personalized to them, thanking them for staying and letting us know, is there anything that we missed that we could have done better for you during this period? If it is, please call your concierge, let him know, we will get it fixed. And if there is a problem, we'll make it right. And then if they do call, we automatically give them a 1-day free stay in the future if there was an issue.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
What were you going to say, Mike? I cut you off.
I forgot now, man, because now I'm like, I got to definitely improve my systems. So with you not sending automated emails, how do you contact them to come back? And how do you, because I know you're real big on referrals, but how do you get that return guest to come back?
Basically, we'll reach out when we're empty. That's the only time that we'll reach out to people. So like if we've got from now until December, let's say we've got 20 to 30 open weekends, we'll start reaching out now to people that have stayed in that area prior and say, hey, look, we've got a weekend here that's open. Would you like to stay that weekend? We'll cut the discount down to 20%. Because we don't really care what the nightly rate is. All we care about is getting them there so we can sell them an experience, because they already know what's going on. We already know how much they spent last time. So we look and see at everything that they've spent with us in these locations and say, hey, look, last time you were there, we noticed that you rented our yacht and you went out to a basketball game, and then you took your kids to Elevate. Is there anything that we can do for you during that period of time now to get this thing going? we basically book it for them before they said yes.
And like, since you don't list on OTAs, do you use like a property management system? How do you manage all this?
Yeah, so I started using Buildium probably 10, 11 years ago, and then it didn't grow with us like the way we wanted. So then I had my IT guy basically design an Excel OneNote system for us. That cost me about 25 grand.
Ooh.
Because we had so many names and so much information. And so now we own it, and we just have to do some minor updates every now and then, so we don't have to pay. Because when you're that big and you've got that many clients and that many units, so 110 units on 90% of your OTA secondary products is going to cost me $5 grand a month anyway. So like Hostfully and Guestly and all that, it's going to cost me $5 grand a month. So I'm spending 60 grand a year for them versus 25 grand one-time fee, and just doing some minor updates on it and paying an IT guy 120 grand a year to keep everything up.
Man,
you are a business.
Yeah,
you are the business.
100% business. Yeah. No, there's if you're doing this through your social security number, you are strictly a hobby.
I love it. That is true.
Now this is mind blowing. This is mind blowing because okay, we talk about a lot of short-term rental stuff, Airbnb, VRBO. We talk about we're heavy into direct bookings now, and we're all because the way Airbnb has been doing us for a while, we've been wanting to jump ship and start go heavy into our own brands and go heavy into direct bookings. And it's just to speak to someone that does 100% direct bookings is eye-opening, because there's more to it than just, okay, I got my own website and now I'm gonna send people emails and hopefully
Right.
they'll come straight to me.
There's
You're forming
ways.
relationships over years with these people.
Exactly.
And
That's exactly
so
what you want.
yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you want somebody that feels comfortable with you and your system to spend money with you. I mean, you got to remember, millennials nowadays don't give two shits about nothing. They just go spend their money and they don't give a crap. If they happen to take an instance where they've got the most incredible service they've ever had in their life, that's memorable to them because they've never had it.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, well, let's call that guy and see if he's got any places located in this destination where we're going to go. Let's call him and see if he's got anything in Paris. Let's call him and see if he's got anything in the Caymans or Aruba or something like that. Maybe he's a kind of a travel agency, and that's kind of what we are now.
Right. Now, I think one observe is from just dealing with most of our business being from the big dogs, Airbnb, VRBO. It's turned a lot of hosts bitter, and this is why. So incidents have come up in the past where guests want to cancel for whatever XYZ reason, even if it's the cheesiest reason. Airbnb will give them 100% refund, right? And so with that, and now I know there are legit reasons for people to cancel. Stuff comes up, but what it's made us into is like, no, it doesn't matter what reason comes at us. We're gonna say no, and put it on Airbnb because they're gonna probably give you a refund anyways. Call them, blah blah blah. And it's turned us into like a lot of us into bitter hosts where we don't bend for nothing, for any excuse, whatever. Now I assume
you gotta remember, you guys were never the end game. You were only the start.
Exactly.
You are a liability to them.
Thank you.
I know Micah loves that.
People don't believe me when I say that. I'm like, you're the biggest liability as the host to Airbnb. Go ahead, Doug.
Every host out there that doesn't do their job, they're the ones screwing up the next experience for the guests to come back and spend money with Airbnb. They don't give, excuse my French, two shits about the host.
It's a fact. They don't.
No, they don't. They just, all they care about is the money. Where's the money come from? The guest.
So that, all that being said, and all that, the way we've been abused by Airbnb in a way, used and abused, like you said, and it's turned a lot of us into bitter hosts where we don't bend for anything. We're suspicious of the guests that they're going to try to screw us over with the help of Airbnb. It's just this weird dynamic, right? Whereas I know I know since you have these relationships with your guests, they're part of the family, that stays with you. You probably are more lenient and something comes up, one of these guests, hey, I got to cancel. I know it's a week away. Boom, boom, boom. You're more willing to work with them than someone like us who's been burned so many times.
Absolutely. First thing we do is get on the phone and get it filled. That's the difference between me and you guys on the Airbnb, because I can call somebody and get that unit filled and just say, hey, look, I've got a unit that just came up available. We know you tried to book it a month and a half ago and you called us about it, because that's automatically tagged in our system. If anybody called on it prior and say, hey, look, it just came available to you. We'll give you a 20% discount right now if you want to book it. And
plus that's beautiful. Plus the guests that you helped out because they had to cancel of whatever for unforeseen reason.
Repeat guest.
They love you. Thank you. And they're going to repeat. You guys
have to remember, I don't bill till the stay is over. So they don't have any money. They don't have any money out of their pocket anyway.
No, how does that work? How does that work?
You come stay, Micah, you come stay at one of my units, you book it for the weekend, you show up, you do everything you want, we sell you, it's a country club. You just sign for everything. At the end of the signature, I already have your credit card, I already have your checking account. I'm going to send you an email with an itemized list, just like a hotel does. Says this is what we're charging your card and your checking account. You have 24 hours to respond to dispute any charges on that card or anything. And at the end of that 24 hours, we bill it directly.
I like that. That is next level. I like that. You did it like a country club. Hey, come do whatever the hell you want. You can go swimming. You're going to be paying for all of it. You can go to Disney World.
They're not paying for it until the end.
Yeah. It's just like Disney World. You go with that little band.
Little band, just keep bringing it up. Bring it up. You want that $30 cheeseburger? Bring it up.
Yeah. And I wondered why Disney World did that, because I took my son last year and they're like pushing, hey, get this band. You just walk out your room and you do whatever you want. And you'll see people just swiping the band on everything. Man, by the time they leave, they're probably leaving with a $10,000 charge. But
exactly. Same thing. It's just like when you go to a hotel and all those little, the peanuts and the M&Ms and the waters are all sitting on that weighted tray, and you take one off, you get charged for it when you leave.
I'm gonna take my Dave Ramsey envelope with me and pay with cash everywhere.
I love that, man.
But you don't pay for anything with me until you leave.
Damn, that's cool.
And the other thing that you hinted on was it's leaving a bad taste in the hosts that are trying to do things right. Mm-hmm. So the hosts that are trying to do things right, it's leaving a bad taste in your mouth. It is because you have no recourse. So what's your recourse? Well, you go start your own, or you do your own way, or you go out and use a platform like we've built. So if I told you, what does a website cost to build nowadays? $2,500, $3,200 basically to get something that's absolutely functional with all the credit card stuff and all the information and all that. So if I charged you $5 a month, or $5 for every booking that you listed with me, how long would it take to burn that up? A couple of years? Mm-hmm. So that's the site that we've built. And it's run by hosts that actually know what they're doing. That's the host that we want on our site. We want the host that gives a crap about their clients. We give you a built-in CRM behind the scenes so you can track the information. You get to keep all your information. I'm not holding nothing from you. My site, I just want you to use it for what it's for. It bills you $5 every time you get a booking, and it bills the guest $10, and that's it. No other fees, no nothing. And you have to work out all your complaints. You have to vet your own guests. You just have to use it just like a direct booking site. The only difference is I'm paying the hosting fees. I'm keeping up with the data. I'm keeping up with the website. And I'm giving you guys the opportunity to use other people on the platform to refer out in case yours is booked.
Ooh, I like that.
And what's your site called?
It's stayinourhome.com.
Stayinourhome.com.
Yep. We just started on the new renovation of it. So in other words, we built the first one from WordPress, and we're starting to outgrow that. We can't keep up with it because now we're adding anywhere between 3 and 5 new hosts a day. So we're finally 9 months old and things are starting to click and people are starting to understand. And So hopefully by August, we'll have this new site completely done. Once we get to 500 guests, I'm going to make it a host-owned site. So in other words, if you are a host on my site, you are going to have the ability to get 5 shares of my company for every listing you have for every year you're on it.
You know what I like about how you're doing it? You're creating a place for business owners.
Correct.
And when Airbnb first came around, I used to always say it, like on the first few years of our podcast, I said Airbnb's created a lot of non-business minded business owners because you can just list something, get paid, and it's just, there's no business behind it. You got to go out, find people to network with, refer people, build a business on the backside, go network with other businesses so you can create a referral program. That's what I love about that. I'm definitely going to be going to stayinourhome.com. I love that.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing about it. So we're building, I think we've got 13 YouTubes on how to enhance your business that we're just getting ready to release and put on the website for you. So it explains how to use the system and how to actually vet your guests, how to understand your guests, and how to give the guests the best experience they've ever had so they use you and our platform again. That's what it's all about. People need to be taught this system because 80% or 85% of the people out there are just butts in the beds people. They're Airbnb built. They don't understand. They don't understand this service industry. They just think it's just a money grab right now until everything falls out, which is fine. That's what the world is all about. Just make as much money as you can until it falls out, and then maybe either they'll sell the property or get rid of their arbitrage. That's who cares? All they're doing is enhancing me because I'm already in it, been doing it, know how to do it. I just want to teach you how to do it. So if you want what I got, come see me. We'll help you get there.
That's great, man. That's what that reminds me. And I talk to people like at work, stuff like that they kind of know me as the Airbnb guy, right? And just, you know, from what people are talking, and they'll come up to me, I want to do it, but you know, I want to buy a house to do it, but the market, I'm gonna wait till everything crashes and then I might get into it. I'm like, when you do finally get into it, you're gonna go up against people like us that know what we're doing, right? We're gonna go up with people that are getting in the reps for years, and you think you're gonna just make money against us? I mean, it's just the mentality. They're gonna wait for something to happen to start, right? Instead of getting in the reps as soon as they can.
Get off your ass and do it. The best time to buy a property is now.
Facts.
You only lose money when you buy it. So it's on you to buy the property right, but it's always the right time to buy it. Just don't buy it wrong.
Nice, man.
Because you only lose money when you buy it.
Man, this is great. This is great. We're glad you hopped on. We see you on Clubhouse all the time. You hop on our Clubhouse all the time, which and dropping knowledge, man. We hadn't even got to the insurance part of it and stuff like that, but that'll be episode number 2 when you come back again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Come out to Clubhouse on Wednesday. I'm going to break down arbitrage versus ownership. I'm going to break it down number to number and show you.
Oh, do that. I want to be in there. I'll be there.
Why arbitrage is not as great as you think it is. It is good, but owning is always better.
You might, unless you want to ask him an insurance related question of stuff going down. If you wanted to ask him one real quick, Mike.
But insurance?
Like from what your situation that happens?
Oh, yeah. So actually, this may be good for the people on the podcast. So basically, I have a homeowner's insurance policy with USAA. And then my business is covered by Proper, which is my business. And I lease my primary residence to my business. My business runs everything from there. So I had an insurance claim where I filed the insurance claim with USAA, who's the homeowner's insurance. And then Proper comes in. They're like, hey, we're going to cover the loss of income because his unit's clearly going to be down. He can't host anyone. USAA then comes back and it's like, well, hold on. Since you have a second insurance policy, we're going to be the second people on the insurance. We're going to be the backup. So I ran that by Doug, and Doug gave me some really good advice. I know Doug can probably go into the advice that he gave me.
Just for legal aspects of it, I can't go into what me and you went into.
Okay.
I told you that offsite.
Yeah, that'll be offsite then. I don't have any.
I can't go into some of that stuff because of what I do. I am an adjuster. I own an adjusting firm. So I work for you and I work for the insurance company. So the advice
I didn't know you were still adjuster. Okay. Definitely.
The advice that I give is just personal information that I give out to help you get through the situation and who to call within USAA or within proper.
Okay. We'll cut this whole part of the podcast.
It don't matter.
Cool.
It's
But
fine.
yeah, thanks for that
people
advice,
can.
though.
No, this is good. People can reach out to Doug directly and ask him questions. I'm sure.
Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to, behind the scenes. I just don't like to do it on live air recordings.
There you go. So we'll leave this part in. Reach out to Doug for all your insurance related questions.
Absolutely. So,
Yes,
hey,
sir.
let me ask you guys a question to finish this off. So you guys been doing this for about 2.5, 3 years. What's your biggest trial?
Of short-term rentals or
Yeah.
the podcast?
Either one. I mean, the podcast is helping you get people to understand the STR business while growing yourself as an STR. I understand that. That's what the podcast is teaching you guys. It's getting you into areas that you weren't in by renting. So it's people are telling you all the tricks and tips to all this stuff, making you a better host. What's the biggest trial that you have implementing that information into your own system?
Man, I know mine. My biggest trial has literally been just focusing on getting off the OTAs. And right now I've been doing it. I moved over to a different PMS. I moved over to Boostly. That's been my biggest trial is getting off the Airbnbs and the VRBOs. It's just they have too much power and control over your listing, and you own the property. It's like you shouldn't have this much control. That's been my biggest trial. That was my biggest trial, is getting off the OTAs.
Okay. I guess mine, I would say is turning this, as you stated earlier, going from hobby to like a real business, and because as it grew, we'd hit certain plateaus where we get stuck at, we get at 5 properties, and get stuck there before to try to fill out our systems, been able to take on more properties and, get to 10, and then we get stuck at 20 for a while. And it's just each phase of growth, it brings on a shitload of more challenges and more problems. And then we get stuck in this mess for a while until we figure it out, until we can grow to the next level. So trying to tame the beast and turn it into a real automated business that's working without us, or where we can work on instead of inside. That's the biggest challenge that we've faced.
Focus on the numbers, not on the units. Focus on the numbers, not on the people right now. That'll tell you where your problems are.
Numbers.
Yeah. How much money your unit's making, or why it isn't making enough money. If you focus on those items, it'll tell you where you're missing out or not doing as much. Because the money tells you exactly what's not going on. So in other words, if you don't have Eric Inc. at the top as your main source of income, and then every unit underneath it is an LLC, and all those units aren't funneling 50% of the profits to Eric Inc., you don't know where any of the money is. You need to run one business, and everything else is its own separate business underneath. And those separate businesses feed the big business. And the big business pays your salary and pays anything else that you want to go buy. And plus, number 2, if you're not doing it that way, you're paying an extra 18% in taxes more than I am.
Facts. Fact.
Okay. If we could dig in a little deeper, how are you saving 18% in taxes?
Well, number 1, I've got Doug McCarty Inc., which is paying my taxes, my W-2, all that. So I get to write off employee benefits, number 1. So that saves me 6% right there. LLC number 1 is all the bills are being paid through Doug Inc., and then it's being paid back out up to that company. So now I get to write off both expenses on both companies.
Wow.
So that's another 13%. Because it's
Nice.
6 and 7.
Okay. I'm gonna have to rewind that a few times to get to my head.
Don't rewind to get a CPA.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys don't have a CPA, you're a hobby.
Yeah, gotta have a CPA. My CPA's
100%. And you need to tell them to structure it that way, because you have to have an Inc. You have to have an incorporation, whether it's an S-corp or a C-corp.
Mhm.
Whatever the top company is, you have to have that. That's your umbrella. That runs everything else.
Yeah, well, when my CPA told me about the S-corp tax savings, I was mind blown, and he implemented that. I was like, damn.
You're wanting to get out of your W-2 so you can pay yourself the W-2.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. And then you take the minimal amount that you want, which in other words, the poverty level is $32,950. That's my salary. That's what I make. I get every tax benefit I could possibly get from that. My company owns everything else I own. Only reason why I have a W-2 is so I can buy a car.
I love it.
and property too, right?
No, properties are all bought by the company.
Oh shit. That's amazing, man.
Business credit, man.
There you go.
Business credit will buy you anything you want in 3 months.
That's what I tell people. That's really the best piece about arbitrage, and no one talks about it. They're so focused on getting more arbitrage.
You're losing more business credit by not owning the company, because I can teach you how to triple your income just by owning in the same 3 months.
That's a fact.
We have to do another episode. I noticed a number keep coming up on this episode. The number 32. You've been doing this for 32 years. You own 32 properties, and you make $32,000 a year, man. That's just that's your number.
Well, I guess I never even thought of that. That's amazing that you put that correlation together.
That's why I write down notes. Man, awesome. Thanks for hopping on. We could be on here for hours, but we appreciate you hopping on. We'll do a round 2 for sure. And we have so many more questions. And so any closing notes for our listeners? I know you're heavy, and this is a hospitality business. This isn't just Airbnb business.
The biggest thing is just let it go. That's the only advice I can give you in life. When you're dealing with a bad guest, just let it go. Move on to the next one. Find the right guest. It's just like doing sales. You get to 20 no's to get to the 1 yes. Same thing with the good guests. You go through a few bad ones, then you get a bunch of great ones. Work the great ones, let go of the bad ones. Just let it go. Who cares? It's property. You don't get emotional over property. Property is for one thing, making you money. That is it.
Boom.
Love it. And Doug, real quick, can you tell people where they can find you?
You can get me on stayinourhome.com. You can get me at Stay in Our Home Instagram, Stay in Our Home Facebook, Stay in Our Home TikTok. Clubhouse, Doug McCarty. I have a short-term rental room every Wednesday at 1:00. Anything else? Doug McCarty .Calendly. You can get me on there, schedule a meeting. I'm totally approachable. I'm getting into the coaching and teaching aspect of it. We're starting to do one-on-ones. I've got 9 mentees and 4 pro bono mentees that we're doing. So I'm just trying to get out there and teach people how to do the right thing.
Good stuff. Yeah. Thank you for doing this, because this is good stuff. I'm definitely maybe joining that mentorship, because the direct bookings. I'm trying to join as much direct booking mentorships as possible. So
come on in, because when this thing falls, you're going to have to learn how to pivot.
Got to, man. Is there anything else you had, Steve?
Thanks for hopping on, man. We'll see you Wednesday on our Clubhouse.
Awesome. Sounds great.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Man, that was a good episode, man. I love the fact that he ain't on none of the OTAs, man. That's what I'm working my ass off to get to, man. I was actually doing my Boostly stuff, getting everything uploaded. So yeah, that was a good episode. Really good episode.
And it's really mind opening that he's all about hospitality, and that's what this business should be about. Airbnb soured a lot of us hosts, and we're just on edge all the time that people are going to try to screw us over with the help of Airbnb. And so when we do adjust to doing our own websites and doing our own direct bookings, we need to change how we're looking at this. It is hospitality first. we do need to form these great relationships with guests so they'll be repeat guests. And that's what he's all about, man. He knows them inside and out. He knows what they love. He's ready. It's ready. You know, once they walk in the door, they're ready to go. They don't have to open up I was gonna say Yellow Pages. That ages me, and look for who could take me fishing, this and that. No, Doug's got you covered. He's got your fishing guy ready to take you out fishing. He's got the horseback riding set up. He's got everything set up. It's a hospitality, man. Concierge. You got concierge. That's the old school term too. We don't even mess with, but we got to learn these things if we're going to be a brand that people want to keep using over and over and plan their year around seeing us.
That's a fact, man. Got to get out there seeing that. That's what I think you hit it on the head, man. I think the OTA strips that from you. Even shit. I mean, if you book through Airbnb, they're having problems with you asking for payouts. So I mean, hell, if you want to offer extra services, you definitely gotta have your own shit, man. I'm loving what he was saying, man. What he say? Airbnb doesn't give two shits about you. So I love that. So man, it's the truth too, man. Like at this point in our business, and I can't go too far into details, but we talked in our group, like, I talked to someone at a company who knew who knows behind the scenes things of Airbnb, and they said, they think Airbnb might be becoming a property management company and might start offering concierge services. So it's just certain things you got to be on the lookout for. And I got to make that poll. I was asking people, would you let Airbnb manage your property for 25%? I don't know if it's going to be yeses or nos, but we're going to find out. But so yeah, just build your own brand. We're in a time when you got to build your own brand.
That's it, man. Thanks for coming on. livethatthrive@gmail.com, livethatthrive.com, all that fun stuff. Find us, hit us up, come on our show.
Yes, sir. Yeah, follow us on IG, and every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., we have our clubhouse room. And remember, because we had so many people late signing up for our last masterclass, be sure to join the email list so you can get that early access. A lot of people are coming in late the day of. So yeah, be sure to get that early access. And we are out.
Peace.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.